V for Vendetta is an Evergreen movie, probably. For those not in the know, Evergreen means the following, or at least according to the Urban Dictionary. In slang, Evergreen is something that is timeless, always relevant, or is continually popular and fresh. This is used to describe anything from classic song or movie or a piece of advice that remains useful and applicable over a long period of time. This term can be used for online content and stays popular indefinitely, rather than having a limited shelf life. You know, it's actually ironic that I'm making this video about a movie that's being played out in real time in the modern day. I mean, as you can probably hear from my accent, I'm from England, and this is where this movie is set. From first-hand experience, I can tell you that this movie was as relevant then as it is now. If you were to watch V for Vendetta now for the first time, you'd probably have to keep reminding yourself of precisely how old this thing is. Either that, or you'd think that Alan Moore, who's the creator, is clairvoyant or something. But may oh you delicious spoon and condiments, I hear you ask. This movie came out in 2006. How could it possibly be relevant now? Well, imaginary viewer that I use as a segue to get to my point, gather round and allow me to illuminate you. V for Vendetta is a movie that is based on a comic that was set in a futuristic and dystopian Britain in an unspecified period. A time period, I might say, that there's no smartphones, and this all happened without the use of social media. Essentially, this is the story of Guy Fawkes, but being adapted for the modern day. Nope, not that one. During this time, the US is going through a second civil war and an unspecified virus of unknown origin that forced the government to impose a strict quarantine, which resulted in the general population losing a lot of individual freedoms.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time here, so we're very proud about that.
Anyway, the UK is controlled by a fascist leader known as Keir Starmer, Adam Sutler, who is hell-bent on controlling everything from the news to entertainment to even personal possessions that might be interpreted as problematic. And the punishment for any kind of pushback? The entire UK is under martial law with curfews and everything. That is until a mysterious character known as V blows up a government building with 1812 overture playing over the whole thing. Let's put it this way, the only word you can really use to describe the scene is glorious. Government officials were then instructed to cover up the explosion at all costs, spinning it as a controlled demolition. The way Sutler just coldly issues commands not only shows that this isn't exactly his first day on the job, but it does tend to send a shiver down one's spine. Not just because of the inhuman that he shows himself to be, but anyone that lives in the UK would say that this is actually believable, in that it could happen in real life. And bear in mind, 20 years later. However, unfortunately for Starmer, Sutler, his plans are hoisted by this V character when he takes over the airwaves. He puts himself on every live screen in the UK and urges the general public to join him in one of the biggest protests ever, so big that the powers that be can't ignore it.
We have worked, when I think about it, everything that's happened in my life for 15 years has led up to September 13th. Every single bit of misery for everyone, Lucy Connolly, every person, what's happened to the abuse against patriots in this country is led up to September 13th. Do we want to succeed? Do you want to send a message to the establishment? A message that they fear?
This speech, in my view, is Hugo Weaving's best work. From this point, the rest of the movie is told by the POV of Evie, a reporter that V rescues from being, well, something that rhymes with vaped. Anyway, he takes her back to his safe house in the fear that she becomes the next murder statistic at the hands of Starmer. I mean Sutler. I mean, come on, it's not like she posted an offensive tweet or anything. Whilst under V's care, Evie sees him to be an extremely intelligent, intentional, and caring guy, yet extremely lonely. Don't worry, he was the perfect gentleman. Kind of. But clearly he's going through some emotional turmoil there from a tragic past. So, because Evie is very much a product of a product of Sutler's reign of terror, it actually takes V a long while to help her find the courage to do the right thing and join his cause. But he does this by using, let's say, ungentlemanly means. But she comes round eventually. With that in mind, you never really know if V will go too far with Evie. I mean, on the face of it, he does come across as very chivalrous, but as we know, he's capable of extremely violent acts. Plus, we find out through Evie that V is motivated not just by justice, but through revenge. This also means that there's going to be a level of unpredictability as far as his behaviour. Vigilante doesn't always mean hero. And just a reminder to everyone that Hugo Weaving pulls off this emotional and powerful performance from behind a Guy Fawkes mask that he never takes off. Other studios should take note. But it isn't just Evie that becomes sympathetic to V's cause. A police detective by the name of Finch is tasked with investigating V in order to apprehend him. However, the more that he digs into the circumstances that led to V's journey to revenge, the more that he is forced to fight his own morality as he uncovers the government cover-up. Now, from this point on, I'm not going to give up how this movie plays out. It's just one of those movies that you have to really experience and see for yourself. Needless to say, anyone who's seen it would agree that it closely mirrors the political situation 20 years later. In fact, I'd go as far as to say, especially in the UK, there's more and more of V inside of all of us, especially when you start to see things like this.
Okay. No more protests. No more marches. No more stage. No more speakers. We need the English lads to make a point. So it's time to stop marching. It's time to stop protesting. And it's time that we take a leaf out of the book of our ancestors and our forefathers, and we do something to show them that we are not messing around anymore. No women, no children will be at this meet that we're going to call it. No vulnerable people, no disabled, just men. Enough is enough. Very, very soon that call is coming. And I hope that those that are fed up, those that are angry, those that are literally look at their lives and see their kids' futures whistling away in the wind because we're just sitting back and letting this happen, while an innocent man walking his dog is literally brutally murdered on the streets of Uxbridge, while our women are being, our children are being dead. Man the fuck up. It's fucking time.
Now, let me be clear. I do not condone any kind of violence, political or otherwise. But you have to admit, things are getting scary. So yes, this is where I'll say that this movie is evergreen, as it's as relevant now as it was 20 years ago. But it really shouldn't be. Yes, the 5th of November should never be forgot as not to repeat past mistakes. But V for Vendetta should be a snapshot of what was and shouldn't need to be a warning of what's to come. But there is one other question I need to ask you. Would you like mayo with that?